we're doing it.
I call the honourable member for Ryan.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My question's to the erudite Minister for Education. Minister, will you please inform the House of the impact failing to reform our higher education system will have on universities—
Now be quiet on right and left. I cannot hear the question.
Allow me to repeat the question, Madam Speaker, to the erudite Minister for Education. Minister, will you please inform the House of the impact failing to reform our higher education system will have on universities, research and opportunities for students?
I call the honourable the Minister will resume his seat. The clock will stop. The Manager of Opposition Business.
Members from that side are calling out irony, Madam Speaker. The question's not quite in order.
There's no point of order. The Minister for Education.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I thank the member for Ryan for her excellent question and the way she put it to the House. It was hard to hear it over the enthusiastic agreement from my colleagues around me. Madam Speaker, the simple truth is if these reforms are not passed, it will have a very deleterious impact on higher education in Australia, and Labor is standing in the way. Simple fact is, if these reforms are not passed, the demand-driven system will not be expanded to courses like associate degrees and associate diplomas and degrees. It won't be expanded to the non-university higher education providers, and that means that 80,000 less young Australians, amateur-age Australians, will get the opportunity to go to university by 2018 every year. 80,000 Australians will miss out on the chance to get a higher education qualification because the demand-driven system is not expanded to sub-bachelor courses and not expanded to the non-university higher education providers. The most generous Commonwealth scholarship scheme in Australia's history in higher education will not be implemented. The 20% and 25% loan fees currently slugged on vocational education and training students, and students in private institutions will continue, making it harder for them to get the life-changing higher education qualifications that allow them to improve their skills and get better jobs. The National Collaborative Research Infrastructure Scheme, that was a funding cliff left to us by the former government, will not continue, meaning that terrific research infrastructure will not be rolled out in our universities. The Future Fellowship Scheme, which is a scholarship for mid-career researchers, which was another funding cliff left to us by the former government, will not go ahead, meaning that up to 1,500 Australians will lose their jobs in the years ahead in research in Australia because Labor opposes the reform bill, meaning that the National Collaborative Research Infrastructure Scheme and the Future Fellows will end. And to put it in perspective, the member for Chisholm, who I know has always been a hard-working member in this place while I've been here, in spite of her being on the wrong side of the House, in her electorate, 211 Australians will lose their jobs at the Australian National Data Service, the Australian Synchrotron and the European Molecular Biology Laboratory. They will not have the funding necessary to continue to work in those particular ventures. 211 in one electorate alone, and those 1,500 are spread throughout Australia. So I call on Labor to become part of the conversation about the reform bill, to stop standing in the way, to stop being irrelevant on the sidelines and bring about great reform to our universities.